Hi, I'm Sarah Fargo O'Brien, founder and CEO of Thrive and Shine Counseling, Coaching, and Consulting. I've been a practicing and licensed psychotherapist for over 16 years, and I also coach and consult on trauma informed care and leadership strategy in the business world for psychological safety, workplace wellness, and overall human thriving. Here are my 5 things to be an effective communicator. The first one is self awareness about how you communicate already. I'm not sure how you could evaluate whether or not you're a good communicator if you don't know anything about your communication style. We learn how to communicate like we learn most other things from our family systems growing up, social interactions from the people and things around us. And we implement those communication styles and techniques even as adults. So if you haven't taken time to consider what your communication style is and being self aware about it, that would be the first thing. Number two, learning how to pause before reacting or responding. We've all been in difficult conversations or in conflicts where emotions start to rise. And when that happens, our prefrontal cortex turns off. And what is housed in our prefrontal cortex is the ability to communicate, language, decision making, and it pretty much just goes offline when we are feeling something emotional or emotions start to rise. So, pausing before responding to ensure that you have an intentional response and not just emotional reaction will go a long way in being an effective communicator. Next, we have acknowledging the reality of the situation to validate all experiences present. Can't be an effective communicator if you are just shutting people down and not trying to understand where they're coming from. You don't actually have to have had the same live experiences or the same perspective to be able to validate that that is somebody else's experience or their perspective. Knowing how to validate yourself as well, even amongst the differences, maybe in the people that you're communicating to, is really important. Acknowledging the reality of the situation to validate all experience present is my third thing for being an effective communicator. Next, I have offer transparency to receive transparency in return and be consistent in disclosure. Particularly if you're in a leadership position, you need to lead with transparent and honest, open communication to be able to receive that back. We can't really accomplish anything, reach a compromise, or even understand where somebody's coming from if we're not being transparent and honest. And we really need both parties to be that way for an effective communication exchange. So, if you are expecting people to be transparent and to disclose honestly and with consistency, then you also need to be doing the same thing. And lastly, active listening to hear fully without defending or fixing. Um, Listening is a huge part of communicating. If we can't take in information, then anything we're responding to is just our own thoughts and our own desires to say something rather than actually taking in information from somebody else. Processing it, metabolizing it, and then having a response that isn't defensive or taking something personally. So, active listening really needs to be the foundational bedrock of being an effective communicator. I hope these things are helpful for you in getting out there and being able to write and speak with clarity.